Hello and welcome to coverage of custom standard casual matches. This is Caillou, and today we're going to be watching a match between Simon and Soul Invictus. So it looks like Simon is on his old favorite deck, Crossing the Frog, while Soul is playing Crest Ramp. So Simon, even though Simon has literally a one-lander here, yeah, that's not really a keepable prospect, so... I was about to say if any of those blue cards were cantrips, but nope, they are not. Keeping at 6, spell like the curve of I won't be able to cast turn 1 Crossing the Fog, unfortunately, but can go turn 2 Dour Vagrant into turn 3 Spellmock Crocodile if Simon hits a land. That's really strong. Meanwhile, Soul is, I think, keeping at 7. Has redistricting, 2 fetches, and a way to like cast redistricting turn 2 off of let's say like a Spindling Nimbus or associated fetch, and then go into turn 3 Crest, and then kind of just hope to like spiral from there. And with 2 threats in hand, perfectly comfortable doing that. So yep, Soul is going to be opening up with with a fetch land. Ooh, Simon drawing into a cantrip here. That definitely helps a lot. And will maybe influence Simon to drop Aspiring Rascals turn 2 instead of Dour Vagrant, depending on what he draws. Because Aspiring Rascals into turn 3, Crossing the Fog, opt, plus a third cantrip. Ooh, but to cast a third cantrip, Simon would need to like draw a land, and then like I would need to like draw either a land or a cantrip here, and then would need to essentially like hit one of those off of opt, or it could just do Crossing the Fog, attack with Aspiring Rascals, main 2, grab what Simon needs, and then flip it main 2, which is acceptable. Unfortunate part is flipped Frog will still die to being attacked by Monas, so I think Simon's options here are definitely like, while Simon's deck is powerful and explosive, I think Soul just might like out explosion him. So yeah, playing redistricting. Probably just gonna sack it, bring back the fetch land, and then use it to search for something. And I think something in this case is probably a blue land. A blue land? Yeah, blue land. And then search for like a white land with this vibrant locale, and then next turn drop Crest, and then the turn after that have Paradise. So that's turn 4 Paradise, which is a pretty admirable goal. Yep, blue land. So ooh, Simon does draw into that third cantrip, Gift of the Phoenix. So I think playing Aspiring Rascals here is the right move. Yep, here it comes. And next turn Simon can basically play out the first 2 cantrips, hope to hit a land so that Simon can cast Crossing the Fog. On Soul's end of things, probably plays Vibrant Locale, searches for a white land. The turn after that, play the Mountain, and then has perfect mana to be able to cast Crest. So just taps out for Crest here. Yep. Here we go. It's a race to the finish line with these decks. But I think even though Simon is going to get there faster, which I think even though Simon drew into another Aspiring Rascals, I think it's pretty guaranteed that Simon will get there this turn. Unless Simon gets greedy and decides to tap 2, play Aspiring Rascals this turn, and then try to flip both next turn, which, is he doing it? So Simon's attacking in with Aspiring Rascals first, which tells me he is going to get greedy and do the flip plan, which I don't think will go well for him, because next turn Soul untaps, Uh, with Monas, ETB kills one Aspiring Rascals. With Monas Attack Trigger, kill the other Aspiring Rascals. And then Simon is basically left floundering. Of course, Simon can't know that Soul has Monas specifically, but in general, like, or I guess Simon's thought might be that like Soul has like a Titanic Crusher, or like yeah, see, like a Titanic Crusher is a high Fire Beast, which would kill one Aspiring Rascal, but would let him flip another next turn. But Soul having Monas means that he can kill both Aspiring Rascals, and I think that's kind of just a concede for Simon. Like Simon does have like Spellmaw Crocodile, which can um which has haste, but Monas basically locks down Simon's entire board, and Simon doesn't have enough burn. Yeah, Simon just concedes. Game one goes to Soul. And like I said, I think Simon's deck definitely had like an explosive lines there. It's just that Soul's is just so much better at having explosive turns. Of course, I think in these following games we might see Simon bring in like Spell Pierce and have interaction that way. And also, if Soul doesn't have Crest, then Simon, I think, or like I think Soul's deck less consistently has like a fast Crest, then Simon's deck consistently has a fast Flipped Rascals or a Magefire Phoenix or both. So Simon's speed is more consistent. So I could definitely believe Simon's deck getting there if Soul just like misses out on having Crest. Okay, so let's look at these openers for game two. Simon did side in the Spell Pierce. We're seeing 2 copies of it here. I think Simon's gonna keep because Rascals into Spellmaw is just a solid line. Can also keep up Spell Pierce if he suspects Soul has Crest. On Soul's end, has Redistricting Ramp, has interaction with Wander the Unknown, can gain life. I think the Darkbreaker Angel and Wander the Unknowns feel like definitely sideboard cards, and they kill like and Soul mulliganing there maybe didn't have a green source to cast Redistricting. And this is a no land hand, so Soul is going to mull to 5. And I think Soul has enough mana to cast Farseek turn 2. You probably bottom a Titanic Crusher, bottom a Sylvan Ritualist, and then go for the Crest plan. Bottoming both Sylvan Ritualists to keep Titanic Crusher. Okay, well I guess the logic is that you'll like you need a threat, and but off of like effectively 3 lands, I don't know if Crest, like if you brick out like by not drawing any more lands, then Crest becomes really sad, and having Sylvan Ritualist can really like help you get there. Especially because it taps for mana of any color, so you're guaranteed to get to Paradise at some point. And yeah, see, Soul just drew into basically the best threat in his deck in this matchup. So Simon? Interesting. I feel like Simon would tap out for Aspiring Rascals there because he knows that Soul can't go uh, like can't cast Crest that turn, but maybe is also going like he's like I have 2 Spell Pierces, so I can afford to counter a piece of ramp and then still have a Spell Pierce for Crest the Waters. Farseek, Spell Pierce in response. No, Soul just resolves it. Then I can't think why Simon, because Soul's literal only turn 2 play here is have ramp. So why wouldn't Simon? Oh, I guess Simon's internet may be lagging out. Yeah, so Simon is playing the Spell Pierce set. So yeah, Simon probably now plays Aspiring Rascals and then keeps 1 mana up for Spell Pierce, which is really good because that means Soul's only play next turn is Soul can't even play Crest next turn because he only has a tap land. So Soul would need to top deck a land, and then only would Soul be able to play Crest of Waters on his next turn, but Spell Pierce would still be able to hit it at that point. And then next turn, Simon can tap out for Spellmaw Crocodile while still having 1 mana up for Spell Pierce. So just a really good place to be in general. So drawing a Jabaya instead, not quite what you want to see. Because this means that can't play the Crest until next turn. Jabaya is good at having the ability to just dome like Simon's deck by having an indestructible blocker, and also it ramps on ETB, and Simon has no way to interact with it. So it's pretty strong in that regard. But if Simon draws into a shock here, could probably just deal with it before it flips. And even though the ETB is strong, it's probably not strong enough. Ooh, but Simon draws into a second cantrip there. That means next turn, Aspiring Rascals could flip. Or actually, Simon can flip Aspiring Rascals next turn guaranteed, but only if Simon gets greedy by spell piercing one of his own cantrips. Because Aspiring Rascals doesn't care if it resolves. Aspiring Rascals just wants 3 of them to be cast. Ooh, Soul having the top deck of Gods, getting the Rootbound Crag, can now tap out for Jabaya. If Soul gets greedy and wants to cast Crest instead, Simon will have the Spell Pierce up for it. So I think, and Soul is aware of Spell Pierce since he just got hit by it. So I think Soul is probably gonna play Jabaya, grab another land so that next turn he can play Titanic Crusher, and then yeah. Oh no, he's playing Crest. Oh, that was a mistake. He's gonna get Spell Pierced. And now, if Jabaya had been cast, even if Simon had a way to kill it, which he doesn't, Soul would have been able to cast Titanic Crusher. But now Soul doesn't have that option. So Simon's thinking, I think, okay. Yeah, and I think casting Gift of the Phoenix, okay, I feel like casting Gift of the Phoenix first also works. All of these are good hits which let Aspiring Rascals flip main too. But I think now you cast Gift of the Phoenix, discarding Magefire Phoenix, and then cast Gift of the Phoenix, discarding Magefire Phoenix. If Simon hits a cantrip off of this, just plays it on this main phase, but hits a Dual Destruction and a land. Is Dual Destruction? Dual Destruction is online, so it only costs 2 mana, but then he can't cast it because Soul doesn't have any creatures. It is good for dealing with Titanic Crusher or Jabaya next turn, though. So I think Simon's line is attack here, grab a Gift of the Phoenix, and probably a Make Way, and then flip cast Gift of the Phoenix to flip Aspiring Rascals. Simon is also going to be drawing another card off of Spellmaw. Ooh, hitting another Magefire Phoenix. So yeah, so the play. So wait, how does this work? Oh, because Gift is an additional cost. So because of that, Magefire Phoenix will be in the grave by the time Simon casts. By the time its ability checks for casting a third instant or sorcery. So Simon gets to bring both back. And what this means is Soul is dead next turn. Even if Soul I think, is this deterministic? Even if Soul top decks, let's say, and the problem is even if Soul plays Titanic Crusher, as Simon has the Make Way. So yeah, Soul is just dead next turn. I'm not sure what Soul. Yes, I don't think Soul has an out here. And yep, it's as I was saying before. The interaction that Simon has out of the sideboard is enough to buy him time to if Soul stumbles on having Crest, or if Soul has Crest but Simon has the interaction, Simon's deck is more consistently good at getting out these like fast explosive turns than Soul's deck is. Tapping out 4 for Jabaya, I think that's basically I concede the game, because Simon can give Marshback Knights flying, and Soul is all tapped out, so Soul just takes a minimum of 13 next turn, assuming. Yep. So Soul concedes. We're going to a game 3. Okay, so let's look at game 3. And Civil Unrest is a card I've never seen. Let's look at this. Weird. Deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and it can't block this turn. I guess it's they can block this turn is to be able to get past Soul's big creatures to get in for lethal. But yeah, 3 has the Simon has the line of lands, cast Aspiring Rascals on 2, turn 3, flip it. Meanwhile, on Soul's end, Soul has the line of land, Farseek, turn 3, cast Crest the Waters, and then go off. Obstinate Bailout being a life gain threat that also can be hard cast is pretty good. Refuge Warden is a really interesting tech for Pip out of the side. I'm sorry, Pip, for Soul out of the side. Just I guess a hedge against aggressive decks, which Simon's deck is one. So even if Simon manages to flip this Aspiring Rascals, Soul is going to be gaining a lot of life and has arguably a faster clock than Simon does, especially since Simon is going to be pinging himself for 4 with these Gift of the Phoenixes. Yeah, so Simon playing a Horizon of Origins, tapping for Aspiring Rascals, and has the chance to flip it next turn. Meanwhile, I think Soul is going to do the same line, seeing Simon's tapped out, just cast Crest, and then go for broke. No, okay, is cracking Vibrant Locale. And then is Soul going to tap out for Refuge Warden or Farseek? Farseek, okay. And I think Farseek gives Soul the ability to essentially next turn play Obstinate Bailout if he wants to, or go double Refuge Warden, or drop if Soul draws like a land, be able to drop Crest the Waters into threaten to be able to flip to be able to turn on Paradise the turn after that. I think grabbing the same land is a mistake here though, because if it's minimally irrelevant, but then if Soul does draw into a World Elemental, then having more named permanents is better. And also, I think there are other lands that, if Soul has, maybe Soul doesn't have the Heirloom duels, but just another green land, because I'm assuming Soul is getting this just for the green for Obstinate Bailout and Refuge Warden. Anyways, on Simon's side, Dual Destruction is super good because it allows Simon to be able to kill Obstinate Bailout next turn. Or actually, Dual Destruction is even crazier because since you can deal the damage between 2 targets, if Soul decides to play 2 Refuge Wardens, Dual Destruction will kill both of them. And of course, like we said last turn, Simon's going to go for broke and flip this Aspiring Rascals this turn. Hitting 2 more lands, not what you want to see. And what's the third card going to be? A Magefire Phoenix. That's something you very much want to see. And I wonder if this means, so now Simon has a hard choice. Should Simon flip Aspiring Rascals and get 2 in this turn? Or sorry, get 5 in this turn? Or should Simon attack, get Magefire Phoenix to hand, and then main 2, cast both of the Gift of the Phoenixes, so that way Simon will also have a Magefire Phoenix on the board? I think I would go with option 2, where Simon attacks first and then grabs Magefire Phoenix, and then main 2 flips Rascals, recurs Magefire Phoenix. And yep, here we go. Simon's going to attack with the Aspiring Rascals to grab the Magefire Phoenix. And then bin it with Gift of the Phoenix. And then probably if Simon grabs another Magefire Phoenix off of the draw from Gift of the Phoenix, that'll just be the nut. Yep, so there we go. Grabbing Magefire Phoenix, so accidentally puts it directly into grave. Or I guess just speeding things up anyways, because Simon's gonna be casting that Gift of the Phoenix. Draws into Shock. Yep, like I said, this is the nut. Draw into another Magefire Phoenix. Bin it with Gift of the Phoenix. Simon now has 2 4/4s and a 5/4. Has a way to basically kill any creature's soul plays. Soul could go up to maximum, like in terms of life, Soul could go up to 24 next turn. Is there a way for Simon to kill? So Civil Unrest deals 2 damage to Soul, so that will put him down to 22. Both Magefire Phoenix get pumped. Casts Shock on face, goes down to 20. Both Magefire Phoenixes get pumped. Attacks with everything. So yeah, Simon has lethal here. Here we go. So Civil Unrest to face, Shock to face, swing out with everything, game. Actually, no, wait. One problem with that plan is that Marshback Knights, you need 1 blue to give it flying so that it can't be blocked by this Obstinate Baloth. So just opt Shock. These go up to 8 4s. Give Marshback Knight flying. Or no, I guess. Oh, sorry. Civil Unrest also works because that means that Marshback Knights can't be blocked and the Magefire Phoenixes get even further pumped. They're just all the way to 10 4s, and that's it. Soul loses 2-1. Good games to both players, but yeah, like we saw, Simon's deck is just too explosive when Soul doesn't have the ability to crest. So yeah, good games to both players. And this is, I think, until next time, this is Caillou signing off.